Hi, welcome to Who Let Us Adult, where no topic is too taboo and no truth is too tangled. This is episode 3. We left off on a bit of a cliffhanger with my mother telling us her backstory and kind of what that situation looked like. Yeah, might as well just dive right into it.
Well, don't you want to do our gratitudes first?
Oh my gosh, yes. Let's do our gratitudes first.
Yes, before we get into nasty things, let's talk about pleasant things.
Things to be grateful for.
Yeah.
You can go first.
Okay. Well, this morning I woke up with, I've been having this as a grateful, but today extra grateful that I'm learning the power of my words. Mm-hmm. And you know how the other day we saw something that said, like, keep your mouth shut because Satan can hear, like you're drawing bad things to yourself when you're negative and whatever. And it's just such a normal response to just like start complaining or start whatevering. And so yesterday, BJ and I went on a little date. Thanks, babe. And we were later leaving than we've been for the restaurant that we like to go to. And when we were pulling out the driveway, I was like, oh gosh, I feel like we're going to be, and I'm not even going to say it now. Mm-hmm. Everyone can know the implication of what I was like worried about or whatever. So instead, I shut my mouth and I just started thinking, I was like, you know what? It's going to be fine. We're going to have a great time. We're going to get in there and there's going to be a spot for us. And oh my gosh, we pulled up and the parking lot was so full. And BJ even commented on how full it was. And I was like, it's going to be fine. We walked up, there's these groups of kids for homecoming, and I was like, we're gonna get the perfect, I just kept thinking to myself, we're gonna have such a great time. Anyway, we pull up, the hostess says, would you like to eat outside? Which, I always want to eat outside. And I was like, whichever, first come, first serve, because BJ doesn't always like to eat outside. Anyway, fast forward, we got seated outside at the most perfect table. It was off by itself. It was in shade. It had air and breeze blowing. It was next to the lake. It was so beautiful. We had a great waiter who was like very no nonsense, which I love that. And excellent food. We had the best time. And I just think that I've always known, that the Bible talks about the power of your words. But I'm just super grateful that I'm applying it now to everything in my life and not just keeping it in this little like Christian box of power of my words.
Anyway. That is good. Well, mine is much shorter than that. While listening to this story of your night once again, I've been enjoying the sparklies of our view out on the lake.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm always so thankful for our view. It brings so much peace, so much joy.
It really is so pretty. Yes. Someday our viewers can see it, but we have a beautiful view of the lake. And it sparkles like diamonds sometimes. And when it happens, we're so happy about it. All right, my number 2, and I'll keep it short because this one has the potential for me to go on about. But both the boys called me on their own to talk to me this week. It makes me so happy when they call me. I mean, it makes me happy that they answer my phone calls because I know that sometimes grown children don't even do that. But for them to call me on their own just to talk and tell me about their day or something, you know what it does for me.
Yes, I'm aware. Your mom heart just explodes. But that's good. I'm glad that they did that.
Yeah.
Good job, boys. I am thankful that I just realized that I feel like I'm becoming a more joyous person. I laugh more. I smile more. I feel like I'm more easygoing. So yeah, I'm just really thankful for that.
I am too. And you know what? We have proof of that because when Alec came home this summer, remember he even said, you're a nicer person.
I think, no, one time, because he asked if he could have some treat that I brought home with me. And I am not usually too keen on sharing, which in my defense, I learned that lesson very young, that if I get a treat, I don't have to share. Ooh, name drop.
Oh, I don't think he'll care. Oh well. If he
along.
does, I'll beep it out.
Anyway, that's a story for another time. But I just offered it to him, and he gave me a very strange look, and he was like, are you sure? Like, what's wrong with you? And then that's whenever he said I was a nicer person.
Yeah. So. Well, you are. You're joy-filled, which makes you nicer.
Thank you.
All right, my third one also goes with this week, and it is that at 51, my husband still compliments me all the time. And yesterday specifically, we're sitting there at dinner, and he looks across and he goes, "Your eyes are so pretty."
Aw, that is so sweet.
I know, and apparently he was talking about my eyes being sparkly earlier this week with you, like across the table when I wasn't paying attention. You were talking about eyes being sparkly. Anyway, I feel good about myself at age 51, and I'm glad my husband thinks the same.
That is so great for you too.
Well, and at least I kept it in this time and didn't go
further. I'm so glad we kept it PG. Yes. That actually gave me a new gratitude that I didn't originally have. I'm thankful that I get to see such a good representation, especially now that I'm older and I'm still here. And I've watched y'all grow and change, of really the dedication behind a marriage in all aspects. That's been really cool to get to see and to watch it grow.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Yes, we're no longer saplings in our marriage. Twisting and bending at every little thing.
When?
Yes, much better.
4.
All right, that was 3. Remember, we're just doing 3 on these because we don't have time for 5.
Oh, I don't. Oh, I do remember that.
You
Yes.
can have a 4th if you have one forthcoming.
No, that's all right.
Did you like that? 4 and forthcoming. I did it on purpose.
I figured.
Oh, I think I get a vocabulary point for it. Maybe.
For forthcoming?
Yes.
I think not.
Oh well, it was worth a try.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we procrastinated enough.
Yes. So last time we had actually discussed kind of like what the episode was going to be about, and this time I have actually not heard any of the before information. So that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
So.
And you were gonna tell them about like your.
Oh yes, and rewatching our episodes before releasing them. We watched the one before this, obviously, and I realized that I just sort of emotionally checked out, and I could have been seen as abrasive with some of my what
looks.
would you call look? Okay, well, looks are a given. I'm talking about words.
Yeah.
Just sort of my briskness and time to move on.
Your mic is magically moving.
My mic is magically
You probably
moving.
need to speak up. You're doing that soft thing again.
Oh, sorry. It's just I sometimes struggle with facing some of the things from childhood, obviously. And so it's just easier to disconnect. So just be forewarned, I suppose.
Yeah. So when you see that happening now, you'll know what's happening. Hopefully you won't do as much.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So when I was thinking about, originally when we had talked about what was going to be covered in this background part, you know, my goal for the background part is not only for people to know how we came to be seeking truth in so many aspects of our life, because I feel like when you start asking the Lord for truth, which is what I was doing during that whole time, He literally gives you truth.
Mm-hmm.
Not just in the one thing you're asking, but all kinds of things. And so we're giving background, and then also just some background on, you know, why we've made some of the decisions that we have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my other goal, though, too, was to hopefully help other women, or a caretaker. How's that? The caretaker of somebody who has been abused, right? And hopefully help them to navigate the system better, because it's not an easy system to navigate. And then you said something to me that kind of made me realize that I don't have to go into depth about those things, because really it boiled down to one thing, and it was so wise of you to say it, and also almost made me cry the day that you said it, because it is true. You told me the other day, you said, Mom, you need to really focus on the fact that your relationship with the Lord and your trust in the Lord
Oh, yes, I remember
is
this.
what guided you through this. It's what gave you the courage to make the decisions that you did, because deciding to be single with 5 children under the age of 8, from 8 to 2, is not an easy thing
No,
to decide.
it's not. Especially whenever you have to start it off by looking for a new home that is safe, one, and now you're looking for a new job because you were staying home, and so now you can't just take care of those 5 children who are under the age of 8, but you're adding other children into your day as well. It's a lot.
Yeah. And I think that up until you said that we've been talking about shame and guilt. And I think that in that time frame, at least, I was being kind of ruled by my own shame and guilt of not seeing or letting it happen even.
We should preface the delving into the shame is healthy shame versus toxic shame, because it's not necessarily wrong to feel shame as long as you're feeling it for the right reasons. If that makes sense.
Yeah. We'll probably have to have a whole episode on what you've been learning about that, because it's extremely eye-opening. But anyway, I don't know, it just when you said that, it clicked in me that you're actually right. It was the Lord that gave me the strength and my trust in Him that it would be okay. And BJ and I heard a thing the other day that when you're driving a car, your headlights can only see so far in front of you. And I feel like that was very prevalent for me at that time of my life. Like I could see just enough to take some steps, but I didn't know what was beyond the light. And that's what was scary,
Yeah.
But I just kept taking steps. So I appreciated that. And then I think it also made me realize that I don't need to go into as much detail as I thought that I was going to. So this episode is going to kind of like fast track through some more of the backstory.
Yes.
All right, but you feel free to jump in or exclaim or whatever it is that you might feel at the moment, because you're right, some of this will be like, oh, I don't remember that. So after the police, so that he was not going to be arrested and he was free to go home or do whatever, that's exactly what happened. He came home after a meeting that we sat down with both of our counselors. And by both of our counselors, I'm talking about y'all's counselor, because you'd been seeing her for a while. And the other counselor was that he had been seeing a sexual addiction counselor for a while, because he had some issues and there had been multiple episodes of infidelity. And the year that Alec was born, in 2006, there had been a big breach, and kind of like what you would say was the last straw for me, because I had seen on a website that he was advertising himself out for all kinds of things. And so I left him. Like, that was the first time that I left. And I was literally 8.5 months pregnant, almost about to have Alec when that happened. My mom was in the nursing home. She had broken her hip and I was taking care of her. And then that happened. And so that was too much for me.
Just a little bit, I'd assume.
So I left, and some people from church let me stay there with them. And actually, he had, at that point, he had said that he would get some real help, not just going to people in the church help, and that he would have multiple accountability partners set up if I would come back. So basically there was these steps that I would come back if it was agreed to, and I wanted the marriage to work, and I wanted to believe that, you know, he was sincere in wanting to fix his issues, and that if he was sincere in wanting to fix it, then I would stay.
I'm sorry.
I love your face.
I didn't think about the fact that, in hearing this for the first time, that one of the things that we would also like to preface is, in telling this backstory, it is not to paint my biological father as just this like terrible man, like, oh, look what we've been through and he did this and this and this. That's not the point. It's purely just fact, like, this happened and now we're moving forward. This is our story and moving on to better things. However, in doing that, you also have to start practicing flipping your mindset to know that a person in that position was once a victim themselves, and remind yourself of that. And empathy does start to grow. Slightly, but it's still a bit of a struggle. So anyway, please continue and I'll try to mind my face. Moral of the story.
So it's important that that part was talked about, because both counselors decided that it could be, you know, if I wanted to continue and I was willing to let him back in the home, that there had to be some guidelines established so that I could feel like I could trust and keep the kids safe, because I still was thinking this happened, right? And obviously I'm not gonna put you in jeopardy. The hope, honestly, was that he had acted out like sexually because his addiction had gotten to a point where like normal things weren't fulfilling it. The other hope was that maybe it had been a first time grooming incident, and that like we had cut it and nipped it in the bud, and that now there was the threat of arrest, and so that it would not continue, and also give him like a feeling of how severe his issue was, if that makes sense. Right?
Like a little taste of reality.
Yes, like I really do have a problem, I need to do something about it. So so he came home with all these stipulations that I won't go into because they're not important. The thing of it is that within weeks it was very clear that it wasn't working. He did not want to stay by the stipulations. He was getting angry, screaming in front of you guys that I was treating him like a pedophile, and just all these things that weren't good. And because it was in front of you guys and because it kept happening, I was like, this isn't working. I'm not doing this.
Yes. Like we had very clear stipulations as to how this was going to work. If you're not willing to abide, goodbye.
And so in that time frame too, the counselors were looking into what can we do to help his addiction. And finally they found a place that he could go to. It's like a drug rehab center. This was a sexual addiction rehab house, basically. And I mean, I was super excited because I thought, okay, well, maybe he can finally be free from this thing, because up until that point he had acted like he wanted to be free from it. I believe that he did want to. Like, maybe there's two parts of him that were warring inside himself, you know, like what you're talking about.
Yes. Split in the self.
So anyway, when the home was suggested, he absolutely refused. I'm not going there. I can't go there. There's no way that we can afford that. There's no way that we can make it. And I was like, we can easily afford it if I go back to teaching. And I knew I could get a teaching job. And I would just teach and he could go. We didn't have an extravagant lifestyle. We didn't have a ton of bills. So it was feasible that he could do it. And he just refused, like 100% refused. So when he refused to do that and all the other things, and then the powers that be let me watch your video of your interview. And when I saw exactly what you acted out with the dolls and stuff, I remember I just broke down and cried. There was no more doubt in my mind what that was, despite what he was trying to say that it was. The doubts were gone. Like, I knew that you weren't saying and acting those things out. You were you had no idea, you know? It just really put a resolve. He wasn't willing to get help. He wasn't willing to abide by stipulations. I had no more doubts whatsoever, and so I was done. Like, I was done. And when I became done, I remember specifically the fight that we had when I told him that I was done. And he said to me, someday you're going to look back on this and you're going to realize that you broke up a family for nothing. Like, you've caused the pain of divorce and you've caused this and this and this, and you did it for nothing. And you're going to have to live with yourself. And I remember looking at him and I said, no, you put me in this place. Your actions from before already led to mistrust, number one. And number two, I know what happened with Elise. You did that. And number three, I said, let's just say that at some point we do find out that was a mix-up of some sort. I said, I have to ask myself who I want to be. Do I want to be the person who is at blame because I was protecting my daughters? Or do I want, and I'll have to explain that, you know, like, I'm so sorry I broke up the marriage because of this, blah, blah, blah. And I said, or the other thing is that if I stay and, like, you're trying to talk me into, the girls are going to look at me one day and ask me why I didn't believe them and why I didn't keep them safe. And I said, I definitely choose the first. But you're the one that put me in this position where I even have to choose. So that's who I choose. I choose that because I'm not going to let the girls look at me someday and ask why I didn't keep them safe. So after that, it was like a night and day difference. It was craziness who he became. And probably not who he became. Maybe who. I can't judge.
Whether it was a facade or he became that person.
Exactly.
He wasn't the man you once married or loved.
Exactly. Because I even remember telling a friend of mine that other than his sexual addiction and his infidelities, which this seems so stupid now looking back, that I was like, he is a good man and a good father.
Oh, goody.
I know. But truly it's because I believe that there was a root of his problem and that I really believe that he wanted the Lord to heal it. And I was willing to be there for that. But anyway, that became so, I can't even describe. Like, within a week or two of that conversation, we had thousands of dollars in the bank at that point because he had gotten a well-paying job for the first time in our marriage, and it was gone. He took it all, which I didn't know could happen, by the way. So FYI, when you are married and you're a joint account, anyone can take the money out at any point for any reason that they want to, and not have to give it back. So that was eye-opening, and not in a good way. So he started trying to control me with money because it was gone, and I didn't have a job yet. So that's one thing that he started to do. He started stalking. I would go out with friends, and I'd come outside. Like, I came outside after being at a friend's house one time with multiple people, and he is standing there waiting on me, asking me what I'm doing there and accusing me of all kinds of things. And like, how did he even know that I went there? He had to have followed me. It just became very concerning. And like, we came home one night and found that I was
gonna say,
anyway,
I thought we didn't need stories.
You don't need stories, but the stalking
was
became
there.
a big thing.
It was prevalent, moral.
Yes, and so because of that, and because I called the police one time, I changed the locks in our home because I didn't want him just dropping in and doing whatever he wanted to, which he was. And I changed the locks, and he called the police, and the police came and told me I couldn't change the locks because it's his house too. And it was just so eye-opening that I had no idea all these things were in play, and that I felt like I had very few options of keeping myself and you guys safe. So we moved because it was cheaper for me to come up with a down payment for a new place to live than it was for me to get a retainer for a lawyer, because I had no money for that. And so my dad helped me with the deposit on the house, and so we moved because then at least he didn't get to come into a house that was in my name and not his. So there's one step that I was able to take. While we were in that house, I was sitting there one time, and it was like well into the separation. Like, divorce things were already in play, but not there yet because I didn't have a lawyer, things like that. And I had gone out on this kind of a date or whatever, and I came home, and we're sitting there, and it wasn't even just me and him. It was like 3 people, maybe 4. I don't remember exactly, but we're sitting there, and like flashes of light are coming from the back porch. It like camera flashes. And so he was out there taking pictures of me and sitting there, and then threatened the guy that I went out with because he said we're still technically married, and this guy was a Christian, and so he's like, she's still my wife, and blah blah blah, and all this. And like, every turn he was trying to control what I couldn't do. And I definitely will admit that I was probably living in some fear at the time. Anyway, the police told me one time, because what I realized when I went to go file for a restraining order is that you have to have like some very clear evidence of proof, and you have to have X amount of them, which I can't regurgitate at this point, but I didn't have anywhere near what I needed, even though I thought I had plenty for a restraining order, which is crazy to me.
That you need so much to get someone to leave you alone for your own safety.
Yes. So at one point, one of the police officers, when he was leaving, he said, because he'd been on the scene a couple times at that point, and he said, I really wish that you would leave and go somewhere and hide, because I'm afraid that I'm going to come someday and it's going to be a worst case scenario because I've seen it. And he said, would you at least consider going to the women's shelter here? And I was like, I can't even do that. He is the person that set up the IT computer stuff for the women's shelter. He knows where it is. Like, he's probably has access to it. Like, I just was in a box, and on top of that, I couldn't leave. My dad was in an assisted living, and I was taking care of him too. Like, I couldn't just leave.
Yeah.
And that is where my support group was. Like, I had church people that were helping. We had friends. We had, Jen, which was a youth pastor at our church, had moved in to help me with you guys and help to nanny so that I could work. Like, without all of that, I don't know what I would have done. But that goes back to what you said, that God orchestrated each of it for me. Jen hadn't even been a friend of mine really up until that point, and God just led her to take on this huge thing, which I'm forever thankful for, of helping me during that time with you guys. So which leads me that I do want to specifically tell this one story, because the other thing that I think it's important to realize is that you need to listen to the still small voice inside you, like what we've talked about, that our gut instincts, when we listen to it, we're thankful, and when we don't listen, we know that we messed up.
Usually a regret attached to it.
Yeah. Anyway, you know this story, but of course they don't, is that I woke up one morning and you didn't want to go to school. Well, you were in pre-K, so really school didn't matter that much. It was more about like, you need to be in school because I have to go to work, and Jen had things. But that day you were like, I don't want to go to school, and it's not like you didn't feel good, you were just tired or something, something that a teacher would never let a child stay home for.
Yes. So one time in my life I got to do it.
Yeah. I don't know, I just was like, you know what, I do feel like maybe you should stay home. And I talked to Jen, I was like, is it okay if she stays home today? I don't know, she's just so against it. It's pre-K, like who really cares? Let's just let her stay home. And Jen said, that's fine, like I'll make it work, blah, blah, blah. After lunch, I get a phone call from the office at school, and the secretary at school tells me that your bio dad, we decided to call him that so we don't confuse.
Father, actually.
Oh, yes, bio father. There you go, because your dad's sitting over there. Bio father had come to the office and tried to take you from school that day. He told them that he was supposed to pick you up because he was taking you to gymnastics. And the secretary said, oh, well, that's funny because she's not here today. Is this something you had arranged? And he's like, I must have mixed up the day or something. I don't know what it was. But what I do know is that, again, there wasn't anything in place lawfully. We'd already discussed it in the office, that if he came and tried to take you guys, there was nothing that they could do lawfully about it. They could call me down there and we could like hash it out or whatever, but lawfully, if he came to check you out and take you, he could. And I was so thankful that I listened to my gut instinct and let you stay home that day. It was just so random and out of the blue, and who knows what he was trying to do or accomplish. Again, I have no idea. But what I do know is that it wasn't right. Definitely had not talked to me about coming to pick you up for anything.
Definitely probably didn't have gymnastics that day.
Not in the middle of the day for sure.
No.
And then finally, things moved along. We were getting closer to divorce. I qualified for legal aid, which if you find yourself in this position, there is a thing called legal aid. There's a lot of paperwork involved and stuff, but what it is a free resource for a lawyer for people that need it. So I finally qualified for that. When one day we were called, and when I say we, it's Jen and I, by somebody in the church who had still kind of stayed friends with us, but also kind of stayed friends with the other camp, that's what I'll call it. And they had heard that he had a plan that, because he had money, he'd already hired a lawyer, and that he was going to serve papers, and that if he could have the kids in his possession before papers were served, whoever has possession of the kids before papers are served gets to keep the kids until a court date is set.
Yeah.
And that his plan was to get you guys and have you before the papers were given to me. And so they knew details, like even when the papers came, when he came to serve the papers, I was thankfully at school, so he couldn't serve papers. He went to the house and Jen was there, so Jen knew what was happening because we already had a heads up. So she comes to the school and picks you guys up, and then picked Reagan up from her school, and then she went to one of the gated communities in our town, and you guys thought you were having a fun day riding horses at our friend's house.
I remember that. Yeah.
What we were really doing was keeping you safe from being picked up.
So that set of friends knowing details about like what his plan was, like, why was he going around babbling that off? I truly don't understand what the point was of that.
I don't know. Those people were really good friends of his parents. So all I can imagine is that they probably were like proud that he was so smart and knew these. Truly, that's probably what it is. Like bragging, like, and you know, the whole story that had been told about me at that point in his defense was that I was crazy, psycho, and
you just wanted a way out of the marriage.
Yeah.
As if you didn't have plentiful already.
Yeah. And that I was putting that on you guys and making you guys say stuff. So that was the rhetoric. So all I can imagine is, you know, like, we just got to get the kids away from her, and you know, like, I can just hear it.
Oh, okay, I'm following.
So thankfully, those people thought that was not a good thing.
Yeah.
And gave them actual pause, like,
that's not right.
Yes. So anyway, you guys were protected again because of God's providence. And then fast forward, because there was more stalking, there was more of the same story, doesn't change. Fast forward to actually divorce day and court day, and again, God just moved through things because his lawyer was saying things that was stupid, or maybe he thought that it was going to rattle me, and I would. Anyway, it didn't work. And we also had your counselor, who is very well known in the community and respected, you know, and she came and testified. And so at the end of it, the judge decided that he would have supervised visits, and they would stay supervised until he was willing to take a plethysmograph, which I will not go into what that is, but you can look it up if you want to. And that until he took that, he would have supervised visits. And so we moved on with our life from there, which, I mean, it kind of got normal a little bit after that, if you can have a normal life. It's probably close to 2 years. I don't know, at least a year and a half from the time that we separated to the time that everything was finished.
I'll still never understand the line of thought or the precipice behind having children that were victims of abuse, whether it, I guess since he wasn't convicted, then it didn't mean anything.
Well, and you know, part of the problem too is like,
but even in that story you were telling me, I mean, that one girl, I mean, it was proven what her father did to her, and she still was forced to go see him. That relationship is not that significant.
So the state of Texas, at least, I don't know about other states, but really, you know, adheres to the parental relationship needing to be maintained as long as it's quote unquote safe. So if you're being supervised, you're safe in that presence because nothing is going to happen.
Don't even get me started on supervised visits where you're going to be safe and nothing will happen.
Yeah. One thing that I had also been grateful for is because shortly after that, he went overseas to work as a contract person and so he was gone for a while, and we didn't have to mess with very many supervised visits. And then when he returned,
he returned betrothed.
Yes. And actually, I was glad. I was like, hey, I'm thankful that there's going to be this other person there. Like, you're not going to have to be alone with him all the time. And hopefully, you know, she's a good person and it's going to be good.
Okay, so I actually have a very important question. How come when he came back from Afghanistan, the supervised visits weren't enforced? Because he had to take that, what'd you call it?
Plethysmograph
Test. He had to take it, which to to my knowledge, he didn't.
Oh,
Correct. He didn't take it in the correct area. He didn't go to the one the judge told him to. And didn't he just barely pass?
All those things are correct. Yes.
So then why, like, I just can't wrap my head around, and this is, like, why was that still not enforced? Was it because he came back married?
No. Okay, so you are forgetting. He did have supervised visits restored before he left. He had a couple. Don't you remember even when he'd come back for a visit, you guys would go with him and stay in a hotel?
I remember the hotels, but I guess I just thought that was... Oh, no, you're right, because that was while he was away in Afghanistan. We would go there during school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then I guess my real question should be, why was that test allowed to stand?
Okay, that's a question for the judge, because he's the one that allowed it. I don't have an answer for that. I mean, it took him... I don't want to try and speak. It was probably 9 months to a year, maybe over a year. I honestly don't remember how long it was before he agreed to take the test. And then I remember when the test results came back, like he's just barely over the line. But it was considered a pass, like pass-fail type situation.
I believe I may have gotten a little off track and a little emotional.
That's all right. I was done.
That's it?
Yeah, that's the story. That's the background.
That's the background.
I mean, obviously there's going to be more things that probably come up, but that's the gist of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thankful to you for the other day of pointing out my strong faith in the Lord, because I didn't feel like I had strong faith in the Lord at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Felt very wobbly in my faith, so to speak. But looking back and piecing it all together, I can see where his hand was in it all, with getting the job at Acton Elementary just down the street from where we lived, where all your friends were the same, and no big disruptions, a supportive church family of people that were in church with us, but that I didn't really know. People just stepped up, men coming over and, like, over the Christmas holiday when the stocking had gotten bad, staying at the house so that we were safe. And Jen and Paige, coming in to help take care of you guys when I needed help. And family, your uncle and aunt on his side, extending love to me and you guys and being on the side of truth.
Yes. And
just so many different things that God's hand was in it. And so I just want to encourage you, if you're going through this, to trust on the Lord and realize that, yes, you can only see X amount of feet in front of you from the headlights, but that He's going to keep guiding your steps. And you just keep trusting and listening to the still small voice within you, that it is going to be okay.
Yeah. You don't have to see all through the darkness. Just enough to, like, not get yourself hurt while you're walking through it, I guess.
Yeah. So, next week, we'll hear from you.
Yes. That is the plan, I think.
It is. And I don't know that we're sure what you're going to be sharing. But next week, you'll hear more from Elise and less from me. Yay.
Yay. Cheers for that.
Thanks for joining, and thank you so much. We are up to over 200 views on the two podcasts that we released, which if you haven't watched, we've got an actual episode 1 that was like true just background. An actual episode 2 that will drop soon, because this is actual episode 3.
Yes.
And then we have what we're calling porch editions.
Yes.
That we've had one of that, because that's like not just about this, it's about whatever, and it's fun.
30 seconds.
Okay.
Thank you so much. We love you all. Toodles.